Well, Luc, thanks to have you here.
Okay.
You are giving a 3-year course in live seminars or in live case taking in Amersfoort. Can you tell me more about what's the idea behind it?
Yes, it looks like obviously that every seminar, every weekend that I do there, that we are taking just live cases, okay, about 2 a day. And one must understand, of course, that taking live cases is the key to understand the patient better and to understand actually each facet, each aspect of case taking and management at the same time. It's not just, each case that I can take alive. It gives me the opportunity to probably, whatever the remedy is, to probably say something more about a certain aspect, either of finding the diagnosis, finding the simillimum that is, or maybe also at the same time, we can also discuss obviously what the management for that particular case can be, because each case is different. To give you an idea, when we have a Lagasis person or a Tarantula person versus a Barita car person, then obviously the management of such person will be very different. So it gives me the opportunity to make the differential diagnosis between the two. And at this point, so it's not just live cases or case taking. Case taking, of course, is a good way for the student to see how one goes with the dominant conscious function of Jung. Now, how is the best way to connect to the patient, which is different from person to person, which is only being seen when you start taking the case. We don't know the case. I do not know the case, neither does the student. But he would very quickly see that the intake is different from patient to patient, and that one does not have preconceived ideas of how to do it, what to ask it, but it has to be a very fluent movement that we need to do. So that's the same for everybody, of course.
Yeah.
But whatever, again too, when I really investigate a patient, the students and myself have to be able to ask a certain amount of questions. And it is these questions, which are about 9, which all relate to not only potency selection and repetition of the remedy, but also to really know the patient very well, to know where the suffering of the pathology is, to know where really the great leakage of the person is. It gives me the opportunity to elaborate each time on a certain aspect and of the materia medica, a differential diagnosis that we can make, the really finding of how do we find such cyber delusion for this particular patient, in other words, the crux of the suffering. It gives me the opportunity to elaborate a little bit about it, and therefore to build up throughout these 3 years a very good package, I could say, that we can see. Now, this is a very steady way, structured way, according to the organon, all based on the provings, with a very structured way of doing an inquiry that cannot go wrong, that really will lead me to the patient, to really get to know the patient. Yeah. And that's really my goal.
Yeah.
So otherwise too, it gives me questions like, who is this patient? Where is the suffering of the patient? We go from small questions to bigger questions. Certainly also it's my goal to give an exercise for the participant to really say, this is excellent to learn the language, to translate the language of the patient to the materia medica. At the same time, we look at what's in the rubrics. We also look at the end, what remedies are really important for this patient, the top 2, 3. And it gives us an opportunity again to make a differential diagnosis, yeah, and to therefore elaborate on a wonderful, lively, living materia medica. And as usual, when we see it in front of us, the patient, as we see with each live case, and then we actually talk about the materia medica, I have seen this by myself throughout my career, that one does not forget that portrait, that one really sees right away, I have seen this somewhere else, I have seen this. And one does not forget such thing. Yes. You see alive, you see the practice, the art of interrogating, you see the practice of what to do, and then you get the theory at the same time. In that way it becomes an excellent package, which gives you a very good foundation for the practice, which is very necessary for all of us, and that we keep on learning. So it's a wonderful setting for not only the beginner, but for really the experienced homeopath to really learn what else can I add to this particular picture. And that's really in 6 weekends that we have, we are able to build quite a bit up. Yeah. Even things that are not really well known by homeopathy, the dream interpretation. Every patient somewhere might have a dream like this, a recurrent dream. And it gives me the opportunity to really discuss this, the first ways of analyzing dreams of the patient, which is an absolutely important facet of getting to know the patient, that unknown, the unconscious of the patient. It gives us many, many clues, not only for the, I would say, to find the remedy, to find the simillimum, but also, surprisingly enough, to tell us if we do the management very well. Yes. So it really becomes a wonderful package. Each patient is really a different patient. Even when you have heard a patient that has, for instance, a remedy like lachasis, that patient will not be the same as you see it in front of you. And especially, I think, the way we get to the picture, the construction, following these 9 questions, makes it easier, and everybody at the end, and I think that must be the strength of homeopathy, is that everybody at the end of the participants will agree with the remedy and say it's evident. Yes. Because we have really investigated this very well. You can clearly see that step by step we made the process based not on really guessing, but based on every principle of the organon, and therefore we are guided by the organon and really the really advanced methods of Hahnemann to really come to simillimum. All of us, there is only one simillimum, and it's a nice thing when we can all agree at the end of the inquiry.
I already saw some videos on internet from Luc De Schepper, his work with autism, with children, and it's very spectacular to see the differences after treatment. So his way of giving the remedy, very eye-opening for me. Yes. Especially for I had several patients which were very sensitive, and I couldn't treat them because they aggravated so much, and they were scared to take a remedy. Yes. And after this, I could assure them, I go very slow, very easy, not too much aggravation, and it worked. It worked very well. So, Luc De Schepper, I'm very fond of. Yes. Yeah, yes. He's very good. Yes. And now I see he's like, it's like a miracle. Yes. He can see really through people, and I hope I become so good. Yes. Okay. Well,
can you tell something about what you like about his analysis method of a case?
Yes, well, he takes the emotions, mostly the emotions, as the core, the core delusions, and that's how he finds his remedies, and really talking through people's life. Emotional, where's the leakage?
Yes, where's the leakage?
And that's the core from the whole case, and finding that, and he's very smart about it.
Yes. Does it also help that you have the 9 questions we use to analyze the case?
It can help, but still I'm not on a level like him. No. Still, I wonder which is it, and then he tells me, and then I see it. So, because for many remedies, you don't know the core delusions.
No, okay, that's
not all homeopaths are instructed in that. So it's his way of looking at remedies, and I think we need more information about that. Yes. It's taking us on a higher level. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward for his new book about core delusions. Yes. I hope he's quick. Yeah. the seminar is very, very nice. Yeah.
Yes, good. How do you like it so far here?
Well, obviously it's a wonderful environment. I couldn't have any better place to teach, I must say, because of the wonderful setting that the people have, translation in German and Flemish, English, all at the same time. And so far we have actually seen 5 live patients, and as usual, each live patient is a challenge, but at the same time a wonderful learning process that we see, and that really helps us understanding many different cases in our practice, but I would probably say also the whole human being, how we have to approach it, makes us think about our own suffering. But I really enjoy always being with the patient and to be able to demonstrate for the students somehow how I do it, and at the same time I learn from them, you know, because we have a dialogue, not a monologue. We really want to have a conversation about the patient and then come to the same conclusion, which I think is very important. So this has been a wonderful 3 days in Hechtel, I must say. People are very nice, and it's about coming back to my roots, since I have been here in Belgium. You know.
Wonderful seminar, and I feel on a very deep level that the way of working, I have the same way as Luc De Schepper, so it's a very deep connection I have with the elements from rubrics and core delusions, and that's the way I practice my practice.
Yeah, that's what you like a lot about the elements from, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I feel that that's the only way to find the right remedy.
Yes. And can you tell in your own words what's the difference then with other approaches, or what you used before, or?
I didn't use another approach before. No. It was from the beginning, it was this approach. Of course it grew in the course of the years. The deepest of the being familiar, the empathy with the patients. You're growing yourself, and patients are coming to you. But what I feel, if you work in this way with core delusions, you come on a very deep level in the patient, and you are just on the border, on the spiritual edge.
Yes.
And that's what I experienced also in my practice. I have one patient, it's already 20 years ago I think, and she had 5 children and she lost her first child. And after years she had 5 children. She didn't come on the street anymore, and she was lonely, withdrawing, etc., etc., etc. And with the correct rubrics on the mental emotional sphere, because there is the essence.
Yes.
I gave her a remedy, and she have, when the child died, she has not seen the child because the child was taken away right away from the bed. That was in that time. They couldn't see the baby. And then I gave the remedy, and she said after 3 days that she had a dream, and in the dream it was very vividly. The doctor came back and presented her misformed child in her arms to say goodbye to the child.
Yes.
What effect can you have from homeopathy?
Yes.
Isn't it great?
Yes.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
I was shocked and down on my knees, I can tell you. That's homeopathy.
Yes. So, and in this seminar it is an extension of what you already...
Deepening.
Yes, and it is a deepening of the...
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel the connection with Luc De Schepper on a very deep level.
Yes.
Yeah.